Hello, and a very warm welcome to the next episode on our summer solstice newsletter, where we're going to look at a topic around how this energy can be harnessed. So, when we look at leadership and sustainable leadership, the portal of the summer solstice, that extra light, is a really interesting moment because it can lead to burnout. There's a whole article and video about that. And how can we reconnect? How can we receive and absorb this time of year, the extra energy, the extra desire to be out and social, and yet not really come a cropper with low energy, tired and wired, burning the candle at both ends, etc. So one of the things that we love to do in Indigo Brave and that we've noticed has a huge effect on our ability to lead sustainably is create. So the summer is the energy for creation. It's not about more hustle and more doing, it's about more expression. And what we find is it is not relevant what we're creating, it's just relevant that we're doing the creation. So what would you like to create? And not because it's billable or strategic, but because it's you. Your expression can come into its fullest at this time. Now, I would argue that in corporate environments, creativity is often framed as innovation or problem solving, but beneath the surface lies a much deeper truth. Creativity is an essential regenerative force, and it's available to all of us. It fuels our inner vitality. It creates purpose. It reconnects us with our instincts, which is to create. It builds a psychological resilience, and we certainly need a lot more of that through these very uncertain times of very fast, dynamic, and intense change. So you'll undoubtedly find that there are so many other priorities and lots of responsibilities in our busy lives, and creativity will often get sidelined into, oh, it's just a hobby, or, I can't really give it the time to do that. But we would argue that neglecting it has a cost, not just personally, but professionally too. Because when you create, you reconnect with yourself. When you do a piece of artwork or a flower arrangement or really cook from a place of enjoyment and love, you find that you're leading yourself. You're using leadership abilities to go, okay, if I deeply connect, what do I bring? Being able to do that for yourself and then for others is really powerful. And if you can reconnect to yourself when you step back into that leadership role, I find I can lead from a place of an integrated self, not a place of depletion. So why is the summer a season to create? Well, it's yang energy. So summer is expansive, expressive, outward facing, dynamic. In nature, the time of pollination, of growth. It's a window of high output. But if we're trying to do the output without the input, it can leave us flat, burnt out, and quite frankly, a bit frazzled. So this is where creativity really comes in. Creativity gives form to our inner intelligence. It can even metabolize some of the complexity of the experience of being human. It really reminds us that we are way, way more than deliverables or KPIs. As I once saw on a t-shirt, human beings are not a resource. So to create isn't trying to escape our responsibilities to be those producers of deliverables or measure intensely and accurately what we are achieving, which is, of course, incredibly important. It is not about escaping it, but it fortifies why we're doing it. really helps us with our why. So you definitely don't, if you're feeling depleted, you don't have to have a full side hustle or a sabbatical to, reach in and find your inner sculptor, which I'm not for any moment denying. If that's what you want to do, it sounds fantastic. But it can be very simple, very quick. It's just giving yourself permission to make something very much for the sake of your own aliveness. So let's just check in. What counts as being creative? Well, that's a very simple answer. Anything and everything that comes from you. It doesn't have to be impressive. It certainly does not have to be Instagram worthy. What would make yourself feel joyful just for you? And it doesn't have to be something that you can show afterwards. So dancing is a creative act. You know, I love making art in nature, just working with what I find and perhaps hanging something in the tree, all from natural materials that is there. Perhaps other people see it and enjoy it. It's not going to last. It doesn't matter. You create a dance by moving your body. That's creative. Some people absolutely love baking. That's very creative, perhaps in how it looks, but also the nourishment is creative. Flower arranging. I have a client who is a fantastic flower arranger and sent me a photograph of something she'd done for the summer. Absolutely stunning. Really brings joy to her and joy to other people. But of course, that's not the point. That's just an extra. The point is it was bringing joy to her. A paragraph, a poem, it doesn't have to be something that you ever intend other people to read. Of course, you can do the things that we often more easily recognize as creative: painting, art, drawing, charcoal, pastels, the things that you sometimes think of as creative. Singing, wonderful. I gain great pleasure. And even if you're singing somebody else's music, you are creating the sound of that piece. I know I have some amazing clients who love to do interior design as part of their creative offering to the world. I have to say I'm not good at this, or perhaps I'm not as bad as I think. But anyway, doesn't matter. Change your space. Create your space. And as I say that, I noticed that I brought a water lily in from my morning swim this morning, and I guess that is an act of creation. I'm not going to take credit for the water lily itself. I think nature did that, but I have placed it somewhere, and that is a creative act. Fantastic. Of course, gardening. That brings us to gardening, and definitely that is a creative act. It's an act of working with nature. So none of it needs to be shared. Perhaps it's even more powerful when you don't share it, because it's just something that's truly for you. It doesn't have to be something that you recognize as worthy either. In Julia Cameron's Artist's Way, she very much recommends spending your first moments of the day doing your artist's pages. You're creating, writing, morning pages, that's what she calls it. The morning pages, and it's just free-flowing writing. It's very much creative. It's coming from you, but it's not even for something you read back necessarily. It's not for approval. It is just to be doing the thing for its own sake. And this is so deeply nourishing. Yeah, sure, often it's quiet because we're often on our own. Not necessarily. We can do it with our children, or if we are in touch with any kids, they might want to join us in it, because you've always been creative. And perhaps no one told you it was safe to be creative. But it absolutely is. And that's enough. Just feel that you can create because you're you. So in our coaching work, we often speak about integrated leadership, and that's leading with the mind and the heart and the body aligned. And creativity really supports our integration. So your thinking can get grounded. It can often soften emotional fatigue. Creativity that doesn't bring stress is very relaxing for the nervous system. So crocheting, I am an appalling crocheter, but I love it because it's that repetitive movement. It soothes my nervous system. It recreates my connection to the physical, and it's expressive. Beautiful. Then I find that thoughts are entering form, and that's very settling in itself. You definitely become more aware of your physical presence in a lot of creativity. This is where the school of the sort of mindful colouring comes in. It's an expressive, low stress action. You know, sometimes if we look at a blank piece of paper and say, okay, I want to create a picture, that can actually induce stress. So careful, that's getting more into the judgment of yourself. Not to say that sitting with a blank piece of paper might be fantastic for some people, but just watch. Just watch. And so much of today's performance culture is based on output, but truly impactful leadership comes from being present. It's sure the output is what we measure, but if we're creating that output from a place that isn't resourced, that's bound to lead to burnout eventually. So creative practices will bring you into the moment. We all know that we're more powerful if we can be in the moment, and it resources our nervous system at the same time. So what next? Well, start small and start now. See if you can do something with your own hands or heart today. What can you achieve that no productivity measurement can get involved with? Your voice, your instinct, your touch, your choices around colour, form, beauty. These are signature assets and they belong to you. They don't live in your CV. They live in the expression of you. They are your being qualities of existence. You're definitely unique. There will only ever be one of you. So, however small the act of creation is, create something that didn't exist before. It's an act of presence, of power, and of purpose. And we have discovered it to be one of the most potent summer strategies for really getting in tune with the energy that is all around us. And yeah, sure, you can bring it to other people. You can present it to other people can share in it, but it isn't for that. That's a happy accident if you choose to bring that to others. Oh, and here's a really beautiful secret about creativity, because once you get this taste for creation, the free, the joyful, the authentic, you definitely want more of it. And you need then to be aware of whether you're going to start doing it for praise, for success. And when you notice that, come back to you. Come back to creating just because it connects you to yourself and the living, breathing world that you are a part of, not separate from. Thank you. Loads more information on these and plenty of other topics in Indigo Brave's newsletter, channels, etc. Hope to see you soon. Thanks.